So Grant, this is a question I think is going to be very, very important for our audience to understand, because it's something that we hear at Trusted Land quite a lot. I'm sure you hear it a lot more than you'd like to as well. When people consider the housing crisis, which obviously the media loves to get involved in as well, as a grounds for redeveloping their site, is this a fair statement? Does it have a part to play, or is it much further down the line with many other considerations up front that they need to go through?
No, it's a bang on question. It is a dramatic oversimplification that the housing crisis justifies housing on every site. One must always recognise the value of different sites and different uses for their existing uses. To put it fairly crudely, we could probably solve the housing crisis within a generation if we just said, right, let's take all the land we can find, and there's plenty of it around there where developers would be willing to sell for residential values, and just stack as much housing onto it as we can. But the reason we don't do that is because that land is needed for the other uses that we've talked about already, the small industrial uses, the community uses. We can't just stack houses everywhere because the city will cease to function. So I think the idea that the desperate need for housing, and those are the words in the current London plan, there is a desperate need for housing. People think that justifies any type of housing development, regardless of what it might cost in terms of existing uses, regardless of how big it might be, regardless of what type or mix of dwellings there might be within it. And all of these things need to be considered in order to do what we do as town planners, which I've alluded to before, which is to make sure that the city will continue to function. I think the most common misconception is again among employment developers who see an employment site as being a bit rough around the edges, and it's only employing 2 or 3 people.
An old pub, maybe an MOT centre, those
exactly.
Sort of things.
Yeah, an old pub's another great example where they think, oh, it's a pub, it's not really got much of a business left, it employs a couple of people and it gets a couple of people through the door. Wouldn't it be fabulous if that was 20, 30, 40 flats providing homes for Londoners that really need them? But it's not a fair arms race, if you like, between the value of those homes for people and the value of that community asset, that pub or that employment facility.
And the few people it does employ in that particular role.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you sterilise neighbourhoods of pubs, which is a really topical thing at the moment, a really, really sensitive one, a really great one to get stuck into, you sterilise neighbourhoods of those pubs and you turn entire suburbs just into dormitories. And I think that's really sad. I think London's got such a rich character, and ironically, it's not ironic, but it's the things like the pubs and the little garages and the sheds and the little businesses that give it part of that character as well. So it's not just a functional thing, it's an aesthetic thing. I think it would be very sad if London became a dormitory kind of city. It would cease to function for a start, but it has to have that fabric of uses around it.
And Londoners struggle to talk to each other at the best of times. So
Absolutely.
if we didn't have those environments to go to mix and socialise, then what would we do?
We need more of it. We need more of it. I wish we could ban certain parts of social media, for example, and we could get out and talk to people again, And I think planning has a role to play in doing that as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.